Hi, my name is Iriany Itzel Lopez-Hernandez. I'm from the Ñhäñhu-Otomi people. I am here with Peace and Dignity Journeys. And the reason why I joined the Journeys is to be able to contribute to pray for all life in this prayer, to contribute my little piece of sand. And it may seem small, but if we collect all the pieces of sands, then we might have a shore, right? It's also a commitment that I made to pray for the earth, and to pray on behalf of myself, my community, my ancestors, and the different projects that I'm part of. Um, yeah. So my reason for participating in this prayer, my elder shared with me some years ago about where this prayer came from and what it meant. And that ignited something in me. I didn't quite understand what it was. I don't think I could have at that time articulate what was happening, but the way I picture it, and a lot of elders from where we started in Alaska till now, like, have shared that, the sacred staffs that we carry, they're moving this energy, right? They're moving this energy, and we as runners, we are their feet, and they're moving the energy, they're cleansing the areas, they're amplifying those prayers, they're lifting up those communities. And if we're saying that we're running from Fairbanks, Alaska, down to Colombia, and Tierra del Fuego, up to Colombia, then we're creating this connection, this line across this continent that will then ripple out. And so that healing and that medicine will be sent out to the earth. And even though it's Native Indigenous led prayer, running prayer, it is for everyone. It is open for everyone with who's their heart calls them to this prayer, and it's for the earth. So it's focused in this continent, but it's an intertribal, intercontinental, and a global prayer. That is I think that I would like to see it as a contribution to the earth. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. There's a lot of different pains. There's a lot of different sorrow, a lot of different rage, and it's all kind of valid, right? And I think our ancestors thought of us a long, 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 long time ago, and gave us these tools, gave us these practices, so that we are able to take care of ourselves and be able to not just freeze and stay frozen in the midst of pain, in the midst of sorrow, in the midst of rage, rather to be able to say, okay, you're here, and then, like, let's move it, let's transform it. And I think that's what this prayer of the eagle, the condor, and the quetzal, that's what they do. They're the main bosses. There's the coordinators that do an amazing job, but when it comes to the actual, like, spiritual work, I believe it's the eagle, the condor, and the quetzal, and they're the ones who are moving us, that are helping us, that are moving us to connect communities to communities. I had shared with the community earlier that one of the things that I find fascinating is that we're able to do this grassroots, right? There's no corporation money, there's no money that comes from companies or agencies or places that are necessarily contributing to the damage of the earth. And so that knocks out a lot, right? But somehow, some way, people are able to connect all Native Indigenous, or Native Indigenous folks across this continent. So imagine that. That's like covering a whole continent of itself. So I'm like, okay, if we have that type of energy, if we have that kind of medicine, then what we can do is it's more than when we can imagine. And I had said, it's not going to be easy. At times it will be hard, but again, the tools are there, the traditions are there. And I think part of it is that we do our job, our due diligence to find those breadcrumbs, or find those golden nuggets. And in fact, in finding those golden nuggets, we get to take care of ourselves, we get to heal ourselves, and we get to meet a new version of ourselves that that we're actually going to appreciate. You know, it may have some pains, but we're really going to appreciate it. And so, so when I go back, you know, uh, that little fire, that thing that ignited in me, is the opportunity, the honor to be able to contribute in this way, to make this sacrifice, because there's definitely a lot of sacrifices from various people, not just the runners, to make this happen. And so, but sometimes it's those offerings that you learn a lot more. You know, there's people who say, oh, you know, when you're done with the run, like so many blessings are gonna come to you, and they have, because I did it, you know, in 2016. But I feel like also the blessings already have been happening, because at times it's like, you know, I got to work through that anger that morning, or I got to like pray about that sadness or whatever it may be. And so the blessings are already here, right?
Can I ask
Yeah.
you a question? For I think young people, maybe particularly, that either don't identify they're indigenous or has lost the memory of their indigeneity, um, how how can they recognize? You mentioned the energies of the eagle and the condor and the quetzal. How can they recognize that that's what they're experiencing, and to hear it, to respond to it?
Yeah. So when you say that, do you mean in general people, or people that are gravitated towards this prayer?
I would say maybe people aren't aware of it at all, but maybe connect to this video because they're just concerned about the state of the earth in crisis or in turmoil, their own anxieties,
Mm-hmm.
and if these energies are sweeping and moving across the hemispheres, across Turtle Island and beyond, then what might they experience but not know what it is? If
Ooh,
that makes sense.
that's a beautiful question. Hmm. I think one of uh, what moves this, and I think what moves many traditions that still are standing and that are still within integrity, is that love.
Mhm.
So maybe they can't tip. They maybe for them they cannot say it's the eagle, it's the condor, it's the quetzal. But anytime that they're able to tune in to that love, to that unconditional love, that's part of this prayer.
Okay.
That's what moves this prayer, because these communities, they gather because they care about their community, because they love their community, and they want these prayers to pass by, or they want to connect those prayers, right? So I would say, you know, again, they can't connect, or they feel like, well, you know, I don't want the eagle, I don't want the condor, or whatever it may be. Um, when they get to tap, even if it's just for a second, even if it's just for a second, to that unconditional love, then you have a reference, you have a key that will slowly start opening other doors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.